All right, you guys, you ready to rock and roll? Everybody had their coffee this morning? Yeah. Huh?
That says soda count.
Soda can, yeah, we can do it. Let me turn this on. So you guys, I'm going to record it so you'll have a copy. If you want to go back in case you're trying to write notes frantically, you can go back, hit pause, slow motion, whatever you want to do. All right. So you were at the Bellevue event. What was your thoughts when you walked out? Or during the quick, I think I had like 40 minutes.
You did a great job. My partner Scott, who has not showed up yet, is the one that wanted us to come down here.
Okay.
So that's more than anything else. But I'm always interested in listening, see if I can learn something new.
Good deal. Very good. Were you at the Bellevue event as well?
I was at the meeting.
What was your thoughts?
Well, I was very interested in what you had to say. So I was glad that you were able to pull something together quickly.
Fantastic. Good, good. All right. And this will be your first shot. So we've got a heavy agenda today. We'll get through a lot of stuff. This is going to be much better than a 45-minute kind of wham bam presentation at a big event. That's a little too much, too fast to be able to go over all this stuff because it's just a lot. So I'm Jennifer Bagley. I'm the CEO of CO Web Group. Mike Hicklin, who's Chief Operations Officer for CO Web Group as well. And Mike and I live in Edmonds. So cool part, we travel from September through May, end of May, at dealer meetings and doing events and speaking events and workshops and so forth. And we get to drive here. That's normally everything we do is on a minimum of a 4-hour flight. Sometimes we've got a handful of clients in California, but the majority of our clients are central states, southern states, East Coast, a lot of East Coast. So this is really cool being able to stay home. So we got to garden yesterday and then get some fingernails dirty and then come do this morning. So we have been specializing in HVAC and contractors for 15 years about, and are the preferred digital marketing company for Goodman, Amana, Daikin, Johnstone, Ferguson. So we've got quite a handful of distributors and manufacturers across the nation that we support their dealers in building their business. The philosophy of digital marketing is often referred to as simply a way to generate new business. Our model is much different, probably because we didn't come out of the advertising industry. We're entrepreneurs. We've built, bought, and sold businesses for years. So we have more of a comprehensive approach to building a business in new client acquisition, building relationships and strengthening customer upsales, continued contact with existing customers, and really trying to help you guys improve through automation, use of technology, implementing systems that can help you guys reduce those expenses and be able to accomplish some of those goals you may have for freedom. You heard me talk about that in the last presentation. Hello, sir. How are you? Glad you could make it. And that's being that we're entrepreneurs. Every entrepreneur starts their companies with the same objectives. They want that time, money, and freedom. I mean, we're not in business to work 24/7 for the rest of our lives and that's it. There's got to be something bigger. So the stronger your infrastructure, the stronger your use of technology and marketing efforts that can allow you to be able to grow and service customers better, the closer we can get to that. Fair? You in the right class? All right. So we're going to dive into this, and this is interactive, obviously, because there's only a handful of us. So feel free to step in. I'm going to use your guys' sites as examples. I'll use other sites as well, so you guys will walk away with good information on your own websites. I'll start and I'll preface this with, I can rip any website to shreds, including our own. So I'm by no means saying that what we build or what we do is perfect. It's impossible. Perfection is impossible. By the time you think you've perfected it, the industry will change, consumer habits will change, technology will change, requirements will change. So it's necessary that we're all evaluating, reevaluating, and pushing ourselves to continue to improve, especially in the digital space because it's moving so fast. Fair? So the 12-step roadmap, you guys have this. You have one as well. We'll stick to this as our guide. We live by it when we are doing training and education as well as working with our customers. It's fluid. It has evolved over the years, but we've been practicing this for over a decade and have very, very measurable results on business growth for those who participate and have the right mindset when they're going through it.
So how long have you guys been in business?
Since 2006 legally. You know how entrepreneurs roll, right? So, and prior to that, I've owned a real estate company. We do in Seattle, Washington, Special Agents Realty, and mortgage company. We have VRBOs that are rentals out on Lake Union. And before that, Mike and I was Vice President Global Logistics and Supply Chain Strategy for Nordstrom when I was here. I got relocated to Texas, did the same thing for Fossil Watches, Tommy Bahama when I was here. So heavy background when it comes to operations, logistics, and technology. And we happen to own a marketing company that I think we're up to 140 employees, all the way from Seattle, Washington. We have a handful here. We've got handfuls of them in Texas. You have to help me. New York, Georgia, Wisconsin, Canada, Nepal, Greece, and India. So we run 7-day clock, 24 hours a day. And it's a little bit of work. Okay. So we definitely have experience in dealing with some of the people you guys have probably dealt with, which is the subject matter experts. Everyone on our team is an expert at something, and they believe what they do is the best and most important at all times. It's the savior, it's the blue pill, right? So we do a lot of prioritization and coaching and help them really understand how what they do impacts the business as a whole, how the business needs to be prioritized as part of those decisions, that we can't make decisions on social media or local listings or digital marketing or advertising spends or anything independently without considering staffing and resources and seasons and the ultimate objective of the business, whether you have an exit strategy that's handing your business down or retiring, selling it, sailing off into the sunset, or giving it to your kids. Whatever kind of legacy that looks like for you has to be part of the equation, because the process is different. If I have a company I know wants to sell in a given time period, we're going to do things differently than someone who wants to hand that company over to their kids. Cool? Anyone want to share what your exit strategy is? Where you want to be?
I'm not known.
We're owners, but there's 3 of us, so
Yeah,
that's an item of discussion.
that's fair.
What's your exit strategy, Scott?
Depends on what my partners want to do, don't want to do. Depends on what my son really does and wants to do.
Shows up
Keep
for.
him riding his bike on the weekend.
Yeah.
What's that?
We keep letting him ride his bike on the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. They want their exit strategy is for me. Their exit strategy is to feed me shrimp.
Play with insurance policy on the weekend.
Right? No?
Goodness.
They feed me shrimp and right. Because I'm definitely allergic to it.
That's not good. I have a different class for that.
Well, we have life insurance on this. So,
We're all self-destructive, all 3 of us.
Oh my goodness, it's the industry. So, all right, that being said, some things I covered when we were at this session is mindset matters, and it does. I mean, it's how you think. It's, we have a different vantage point because we get to see a tremendous amount of dealers and their success rate. And when you have 2 businesses technically doing the same thing with the same product in somewhat similar area, and one is highly successful and another one isn't, it boils down mostly to it's thinking. It's having clarity, having the right people in place. It's training and education. You guys showed up. That was a big class, and everyone that's here, I commend you for that, because it's a big deal to take time to work on your business, not just in your business. Did you guys win one of you guys, I think it was you guys, won the training and development?
Yeah.
Go figure. And you're here. Congrats. I love that.
Best families, I think.
Fantastic. So marketing. This is probably the biggest thing, most important, is do the right things in the right order at the right time. That is wildly important when it comes to digital, and I don't think it's ever a consideration for any business I've met with before. I mean, finding a company, a contractor, it's very haphazard. You guys are in an awkward position. You have dealers and distributors offering training on a regular basis, letting whoever come and teach. You've got Target on your back for every scam company out there that wants to try and pitch you a blue pill, say that it's easy. This is the one thing you need. You have a generational business that's had some very, very traditional and old school advertising habits, very traditional, and it's hard to break that mindset a lot of times. And you guys are around each other a lot. You're like realtors. you do a lot of things together, so information tends to get passed and shared, and I don't always think it's the best advice, even going dealer to dealer. So those are things we need to work through. The other thing is for some reason in this industry, it's very convenient to continue to start over. So it's hard to stick through something if it's not fast. We all want fast. Everybody wants the McDonald's version of everything. Give me the drive-through, right? And in the digital space, it's very competitive. So understanding the math behind it and how that math equals time will give you a better ability to be able to make better calculated and strategic decisions. So I want you to understand the math during this session and how time is a factor. And that way, when it comes time and we get anxious and we want to do something different and we think just starting over, it's not always the best idea. Okay. Ultimately, if we can get through that beginning portion and we can start to make some significant impact, we need to get into the position where in our business, we have a standard methodology of evaluating ourselves and our performance and determining what works at any given time. It may be different, and we need to do more of that. What's not working, we need to stop. We need to reallocate our time, our money, our investments somewhere else. Sometimes we just keep hitting that wall over and over again and thinking we're going to get a different result, and it just doesn't. I'll give you the best example for that. I stand up in front of thousands and thousands of people, and I ask audiences across the entire nation to just take themselves out of their business for just a minute and put themselves in mom, dad, husband, wife, homeowner, and I ask them how they buy, how they shop. It's less than 1% of the room that responds to any traditional advertising, what you'd go to school for marketing for today. 1% of the room, and that's 1% of their total purchases in a 12-month period. But when I ask the entire audience, how do they market? What do they spend money on? They spend money on the very things they don't respond to as mom, dad. So I always tell everybody I'd rather listen to a group of soccer moms than an advertising agency all day long. They have more value. They really do. So the next one is have a what's next mindset. And 1 and 3 basically go together. We always have to be thinking, okay, what's next? What am I not doing yet that I should be doing? What am I not doing yet that I should be doing? And keep adding. It's not a project, it's lifestyle. Building a business, developing the infrastructure, the systems, the technologies. It's not a thing. It is a lifestyle. It's constantly evaluating, reevaluating, determining duplicate processes, inefficiencies, redundancies, missed opportunities, and identifying what do we put in place in order to calm those down or pick them up. We have to remember that at any given time, no matter whatever we do, however we think, it got us wherever we are. If we want a different result, we have to change how we think and what we do. There is no other way. We can't keep doing the same thing and expect something different. Our model from a marketing standpoint is based on continuing to add more funnels because the marketing and digital on and offline space is volatile. Things change. The more funnels you have, even a funnel that's producing a slim number of leads, if it makes that phone ring for something, it's a funnel. And then you add another funnel and another funnel and another funnel and another funnel. The wider that breadth of funnels, the more stable the business is from a marketing standpoint, the less risk you have overall. If one of those funnels goes away, I'll give you, let's see if this is still, let's go AC repair. I'm curious. Let's go to Sacramento. A lot of times I notice, it's interesting, it's changed in the last week. A lot of times I notice that companies want to work with someone local. They're in a good position for that, but it's not smart because Google doesn't test local. Google tests in pockets. Sacramento, Bay Area, huge pocket. Toronto, huge pocket. So you want to make sure that whoever you're working with has some clients that are spread around so that when these changes happen that you get no notice for, a smaller group of their customers are impacted and they're able to let everybody else know, hey, this is coming or this is being tested. We need to rethink something. This is a big one. So in the Bay Area about, what do you think, 12 months ago maybe or less?
You're like,
8 to 12, yeah. So when you do a search, let's pull up Seattle. So when you do a search, normally what you see on a local search result is you'll see ads at the top, and then you'll see a map. In the Bay Area, they took away the map, and they took it away for about 9 months. The map's back today, but 3 weeks ago, this map was not here. So the challenge is every business that was fully dependent, and we had clients in this bucket, fully dependent on Google Maps as their main funnel for new business, their phones literally, it's like turning off a water hose. They shut off with no notice at all, and it shut off during the middle of winter. So that's a problem. I mean, they made it through their season without any phone calls. If they didn't have any other options. What Google did is it replaced all of the free Google Maps with paid ads, pay-per-click ads that are very difficult to get into, and they were costing about $42 a click, which is a lot. So that's what I mean as far as what's, creating a funnels, multiple funnels, so we don't get impacted by stuff like this. This has expanded. It's went all the way down to San Jose, Santa Cruz. It's went up to Concord. So it's stretched. We're covering multiple counties now. So they're still testing. It's still changing. Literally, the ads went away. There was 4 or 5 ads. So anybody who was investing in pay-per-click, who had an opportunity to stand out, their dollars went to trash as well. And that's not an option then. So there were lots of impacts because of it.
and that was because they took away the Google Maps.
They took away the Google
free
Maps.
Google Maps.
They put the paid contractor map up first. There was a map and it was paid. And then it's had multiple iterations since then. But when they did that, because those are paid ads, they took away the pay-per-click ads.
Right.
So you had Google Maps that failed, pay-per-click ads that failed, and you had to get into this map section, which required a lot of work to get through their approval process. So everyone in that Sacramento area paid.
Is that just the test they were doing?
Well, they're still testing because it's modified. It's continuing to change. You guys remember when you used to go to Google and there were ads all the way on the right-hand side?
Mm-hmm.
So similar to that. It starts out as a test, it changes, it alters, and then eventually most of the tests will wind up spreading nationally or internationally. So that one, it's a little iffy. We'll see. But as long as you've got multiple funnels, you're in good shape. Okay. The one thing that has been tried and true is organic SEO, which is showing up on that top 10 list below all the ads. That's been good. Next is meet people where they are. And that still goes back to mindset. Consumer buying habits change. And we've got kids, and I like watching how they shop. I like watching how they give me their Christmas list, because that says a lot. When you go one list or 1 year and they're ripping out magazines and they make you a Christmas list with that, and then another year, another year they're showing you websites and they're pulling products off websites. Another year they're showing you YouTube videos and they've already done all their research. I mean, that's something to pay attention to, because consumer habits change. But for adults, they're the same thing, going from using cell phones and or computers to cell phones to watches to now Amazon Alexa and Google Home to do a lot of those searches for them. Things are really changing. Your AI devices are becoming more popular. There's always pros and cons to everything. There always is. There's nothing that's just a straight pro. There's always pros and cons to everything, so it's a matter of balancing them and figuring out which one's way stronger. From a mindset standpoint, I always say you'll attract more what you focus on. If you focus on the negative continuously, you're going to see a lot more negative in your space, in your world. If you focus on the positive and keep pushing, you're going to bring a lot more of that. Nothing's perfect, but it can always be improving. It's not easy, but it can be fun. And I think I tell entrepreneurs that are looking at starting their own business. In fact, it sucks rocks. Smile all the way through it because it's hard. It's hard to start a business. It's hard to run a business. It's hard to grow a business. All right. So first and foremost, we'll go into websites and branding. Being that technology is changing the way that it is, how long do you guys think a website lasts today?
I used to think 2 to 4 years, but you told us differently.
6 months to a year.
Yeah, and it's actually less than that. What we try and do is with our HVAC clients, we put them on a refresh plan, which basically they get a new website every 18 to 24 months, or if a major requirement or something negative happens that requires us to do it earlier, kind of like car insurance replacement. And that's better, but I'll tell you that 18-month mark, we're starting to see that's becoming more the mark, not 24 months. In any other world, any other business line of business, they don't build websites as a single project. They have a process called growth-driven design, and what they will do is they will create a budget that's a website budget. I'll let you watch this really quick.
Hi, Luke Summerfield here. For years, I lived in the web design agency world, working with clients of all different sizes on building their websites. And I have a few observations that probably sound pretty familiar to you. If you've ever experienced what it's like to do a website redesign, you probably were pretty frustrated. The amount of time that you have to invest in this project, the amount of money, the fact that it almost inevitably goes over budget and gets delivered late. It is such a frustrating process, and it's very risky for your business. Now, in addition, once we launch the site, what happens? We're just so happy the thing's out the door. We throw our hands up in the air, and we rarely ever go back to touch it. Just kind of crazy. This is your number one marketing asset. It's where we're driving all our people to. And it's your number one salesperson working 24 hours a day, round the clock. And yet we let it sit for 1.5 to 2 years with very minimal updates. So from my years working in the industry, I have an observation that the traditional website design process is broken. All these problems that we talked about, all these frustrations, it's usually not because of a lack of talent. We're working with very talented people. And it's usually not a lack of resources. I've worked on projects where they tell me, Luke, you have unlimited budget, just do it right. And we always run into the same problems. It's because we're setting ourselves up for failure before the project even starts by using this broken playbook. So the question becomes, what are we supposed to do? This is just how we've always done it. We've kind of accepted these to be part of the process. Well, there's a new playbook, and it's called growth-driven design. And growth-driven design is a smarter approach to web design that minimizes all of those frustrations, all those challenges, and all of those risks. It's a smarter approach to web design that drives continuous results for the business through month-over-month improvements, We're collecting user data. We're making informed decisions based off that data on how we can improve. And it's a smarter approach to web design that informs other parts of the business. As we learn about our users, how can we do better marketing? How can we do better sales? How can we give better product support? And vice versa, as they learn, how can we incorporate that into the website? So what I would encourage you to do is to take some time around this website, learn a little bit more about the growth-driven design methodology, the new playbook. And then when you're ready, invest the time to take the deep dive and learn how to implement it for yourself, either by taking one of our courses that we offer for free here on this site, or to partner up with one of our certified agencies so that they can help you implement this playbook in your next growth-driven design website.
So essentially, this is the model that normally happens. You build a website, the website sits for 2 years, and then you start to redesign, and the website's performing well in the beginning, and then the longer it sits, the less it performs. The longer it sits, the less it performs, which is counterintuitive because this is the technology that is the issue. Whereas content on a website, the longer the content exists, the higher it performs. So if the content is sitting in a better piece of technology, now you have accelerated results. If the content is sitting inside poor technology, then you're going to see a degradation of results over time. When the reality is, the longer the content sits, that's the beauty of the internet. The longer it's there, the more Google values what you have to say. Make sense? So, in any environment, starting off with having fresh technology, the challenge, another big challenge is, let's say you have a website that performs extremely well. You have incredible content and the website is ranking for the majority of your search results and whatnot, and you have somebody redesign and develop the website. If they don't know what they're doing, that's often the biggest gap or the biggest fault when it comes to your performance, because they modify your titles, they modify the pages, they modify the architecture and the framework that Google knows and has indexed. And when your website goes live, all of a sudden your rankings have changed. So starting over, bouncing around from company to company to company, that can be a big issue as well. Make sense? Anybody experienced that? No?
We did 2 years ago.
You did? It's a challenge. It's a challenge. All right, so I'm going to start by going through each of your guys' sites, and we're going to use this as a guide. First one is professional logo and brand. Then it goes into design and development. And if you think of a website like an iceberg, the design is the very tip that's above the water. The development is everything below the water. So that's the hard part. That's all your code. That's where the biggest errors and mistakes can be. And then we'll go into the rest. So first and foremost, when you guys get to a website, something to consider is your consumers who you guys are selling to are often probably women. Do you agree? We have to remember, when it comes to a female, they are driven by how much you care before it's how much you know. They tend to go first with what pulls emotional strings, second, the technical aspects of it. So on any site, when we get there, hello. When we get there, we've got to make sure that there's something that's an emotional trigger that's close and easily seen the second you get to a website. Very, very important. Let me see. I've got one more. Which one? Hood canal. Heating with quality. Whose website am I missing? I'm missing yours, right? Okay, I've got Dana's. There we go. Okay, I have them all. All right. Did you guys use the same web company? Quality and your Haibu and okay. You guys are going to wind up having a strategy session with Beverly, I'm guessing, and she used to work for Haibu. I'm warning you in advance. It'll be an earful. But it'll be in her great Texas twang accent. She has?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we need to do this first.
Yes. So funny, Beverly used to work for Haibu, and she tried, they have a very hardcore walk into the office, salespeople on the street trying to sell.
Well, she's been very nice about it. They do a very, very good job. She says, but we can improve.
Yeah.
That's what she says.
She walked into one of our clients and tried to sell him, and he was like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not moving. She was like, I've never heard that. So she wound up calling, and then she left Haibu, and she's been with us for a couple of years, so, which is good. Okay, so I can usually tell a Haibu site. Now, here's the challenge. When it comes to websites, you have template sites, which is how I could tell both of these, and template development. So GoDaddy website tonight, Yahoo site builder, web.com, Haibu, online access. What these companies have done is basically built Yellow Pages, one of the biggest. These guys have built a platform and it just sits, and they sell inexpensive websites over and 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 over. And that technology is just out of date, the code structure of it. So that right out of the gate, that's tough. They have a high amount of code to content, which Google has to crawl through that code to get to your content. You want less code, easier. You want to make it easier for Google to access that content. Now, do you guys have an admin panel where you can log in and make changes to your site? Okay. And they're not an SEO company. So these guys are heavy on the local listing side. They try and put your website on lots of other local directories to attempt to be able to drive new business. But getting rankings, unless you're in a really small town and you've got everything else going for you, sometimes that can be difficult. There's also flat sites. So this is basically an online brochure. So you don't have access to an admin panel, right? And that's going to be difficult as well. Let me check on responsive for these. Responsive, that's good. Haibu should be responsive. And it's not. Let's see here. So you guys ever get a notice from Google about your website having to be responsive? No? So Google came out, it was a penalty. They warned everybody in advance and said your website has to be responsive. That all responsive means is that the code is going to reshape itself on any size device. Not shrink it, but reshape itself. So what should happen if it's responsive is if I grab the sidebar, or if I grab the side and I start moving it over, I should see the layout of the website continue to change. Let me go pull up one of ours. We'll pull Staten. So if I grab this site and I start pulling, you're going to see things start to shrink regardless of device size. So if I'm on a 12-inch tablet, 10-inch tablet, 7-inch tablet, 5, and then we move to a cell phone, you'll see that the navigation, everything is going to shrink based on that. That's responsive. So for you guys, not in a non-responsive site, the penalty for that is relatively severe. And when you start stacking up, if there's anything else that's wrong, that can turn into a bigger problem. So every penalty Google issues, you have hard penalties, soft penalties for non-compliance to requirements. The more of them you have and the longer they go on, the harder it is to climb out of that hole. So it's important to get those things resolved.
How do we resolve it?
You replace this site and don't use.
I'm sorry?
You replace the site and don't use a template site that's old, because the technology is just old. It just is. They're not a custom design and development firm. They've just built a platform and you use it over and over and over and over again. So that's first. As far as the infrastructure goes, that's the code for those two. It's just replace them. It's definitely time. Now, from a design standpoint, when you land on a site, for your industry specifically, there's a handful of things that need to be in place. Without moving, somebody should know, and I'll just pull this one up, who you are, what you do, where you do it, how to reach you, 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 what do other people think about you, which is going to be social as well as your reviews, Google reviews. And at that point, what that will cause is a high conversion rate and a high bounce rate. Bounce rate is not good. Remember I said there's pros and cons to everything. When you build the perfect website, your bounce rate goes up, your conversions goes up. Bounce rate's not good. So because of that, we have to figure out the pros good. I want somebody to glance at this site who is interesting, and I want them to make a decision extremely fast to want to work with us because the site's professional, because they obviously are able to quickly see what we do. They're able to see, they can apply for financing, they're able to check out promotions, they can schedule an appointment online. Everything that they need to make a decision is there without having to move anywhere on the site. That's important. In order to keep them on the site, there are things you can do. We often use video. Video is a great way to keep somebody on the site. In addition to that, we've built things like Troubleshooter. So originally the Troubleshooter was created because of the volume of local listings that we manage, and we were looking at why people get negative reviews. Why do HVAC contractors get negative reviews? Top 2 reasons. 1, don't show up on time during their window. And the second one is coming out for service, changing a battery, flipping a breaker, and then sending them a bill. Their consumer mind doesn't think about your time, your gas, that you could have been installing a system and not working on this. They don't like that. So we built a Troubleshooter system specifically for that when we first started. The benefit is that they use it. They don't just use it, but we'll see them schedule an appointment with one of our clients. And then we'll see them send a note right after that says, I need to cancel the appointment. I was able to use your Troubleshooter and realized the breaker wasn't flipped in the garage. Thanks so much. I bookmark your site and I'll come back and use you guys again. So saved you guys some time. You didn't have to go out on that appointment. In addition to that, getting a consumer to bookmark your site is really hard, really hard. Other things that'll keep them on there. The SARE calculators is a good one when they're trying to figure out, and understand. They keep seeing this word called SARE. They don't understand it. So trying to figure out what efficiency means, how do they compare it, what could the annual savings be for them as well.
Do you have an HFPF rating that that's an air conditioning rating this year?
We started that, and we would love somebody to help us with that calculation because I think we have about 30 Excel sheets and notes. So we started to build a heating calculator. We need help.
I'm glad to help you. It'll cost you.
That's the cool part. I mean, everything that we've built, we always had a client that, we worked with on the idea. We built it, they get it for free, and they've helped us with those things. You guys are the subject matter experts. You are awesome.
I have my card right there.
That is awesome. Thank you. That's a challenge. So from a design standpoint, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, so other things. You guys operate multiple companies. You have a heating company, you have a cooling company, and they're totally different at different times of the year. And because you're in Washington State, you have 4 companies because you have a lot of middle ground here. So a lot of middle ground. It's not like Florida. My guys in Florida, they're putting air conditioners in homes for 10 months out of the year. And then they get 2 months to work on their own business, and then they start putting air conditioners back in. My guys in New Jersey and New York, these guys have extremely harsh seasons in the summer and extremely harsh seasons in the winter. You guys, this is different, Washington. This is different. So having a lot of filler space, having those things that you can do during the 60 degree weather. And the other thing here is in Washington, 60 degrees means shorts and Birkenstocks. It's not like other locations where 60 degrees and they have their heat blasting. The windows are still open here. So you guys have a little bit of a challenge with some of those. What have you guys done so far to fill in those gaps during your off seasons? Other products and services?
Service contracts.
Maintenance?
We do water heater replacements.
A lot of water heater?
Custom work too, our company does custom work.
Okay.
Electric, we have an electrical.
And you have electric. Awesome. That's what our guys in Arizona are doing. And a lot in New Jersey. New Jersey guys, they tend to be jack of all trades. They almost sell appliances too. So they've added pretty much everything. We've had a couple companies that we've helped add other services such as security system installation. We've hooked them up with alarm.com, let them become resellers. They snagged a good security guy and they started installing alarm systems and security systems and tied it in their maintenance plan. No equipment cost, no major cost to become a reseller. So there's lots of ways to do that, and those are things we can help with. Same thing with, we've had some guys that don't do emergency service. Yet, the reality is for the average customer, they don't get to take care of their to-do list, their honey to-do list Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's not normal. We're busy. Everybody's busy. So being able to provide, or at least show that you can provide some kind of service after hours and keep those books open is going to be important. Challenge is when I go to somebody's Google business listing, if a consumer is looking and they see right here, let's say it's 7 o'clock, I just got done feeding the family dinner, or I just walked in the door from work, and they do that search and this says close, open tomorrow, they're going to go to the one that says open. Even if you could have helped them. So little things like that are small little exit doors we want to prevent. So do you guys provide emergency service after hours? Yes?
After our service.
Okay. Hood Canal, you guys? Okay, so these are big ones.
Mm-hmm. I saw that last.
Yeah. Let me go look. Okay, and you guys you have your business hours off. So putting on there 24/7, or you want something because it technically, is this your location? You guys don't have your address on, you haven't verified your Google business listing. Okay, we'll come back to that.
It's not even a picture of our shop.
Yeah, something's wrong on that.
Somebody a lot of work.
Okay, we'll definitely cover that. But
It's close.
little things,
Remember when we were here, and I showed you that, this is wrong.
yeah,
Because I came back and said this.
little things that there's always a solution for something. So we've had guys that don't do or don't want to do emergency service. So we've hooked them up with a portable air conditioning company or portable heating company that has portable heaters. And so after a certain time, we have the leads routed to the portable company. They go deliver some kind of portable solution in the middle of the night. And then when you wake up, you take care of your clients in the morning, and then you're not having to hire staff, 24-hour crews. You're not having to pay overnight. I mean, there's lots of little things to make sure that you get the business and you still have an opportunity, even if you have a partnership. All right. So back to sites. Technology first and foremost. Other thing we've got to be really careful of, you guys do not want to play the product game. The product game essentially means you're competing with Home Depot, Amazon.com, Sears, and every other major company that has multi-million-dollar marketing budgets. So when you play the product game, if I look for air conditioner, what you'll see on here is if you see something that says shop, that's not your area. You don't want to be in this bucket with Sears, Best Buy, Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, Amazon. This is not a good game to play. You guys have to stay in the service environment. You have a set of primary key phrases. I typed them up for you, but they're simple. That's really small. So your services are pretty simple. During the summer, it is AC, and it's service, installation, replacement, inspection, maintenance, tune-up. Air conditioner, service, repair, replacement, installation, inspection, maintenance, tune-up. Same thing, air conditioning. That's another primary phrase. On the heating side, you guys are furnace, service, repair, installation, maintenance, inspection, tune-up, same thing. Or heater. If they're from here, they're going to call it a heater. If they're from the East Coast, they're going to call it a furnace, even if it's a heater. Okay, so, and same thing with heat pump, water heater, and everything else. The consumer's language is what matters, not our technical knowledge. Our technical knowledge gets us in trouble. That puts us in a bucket with people who are like ourselves. And that's not the customer. The customer ultimately. So why would I use AC inspection or furnace inspection? Thoughts?
Well, the customer's gonna think it. Inspection, I need to get inspected or something on it.
Who tells them they need an inspection?
They're gonna sell it.
They're realtors and home inspectors. They will never use service, installation, replacement, or anything. They only use the language inspection because they're getting the house inspected, and their inspectors, they turn it into underwriting. Underwriting comes back and says, we got an issue with the air conditioner or heater. You're going to have it inspected before we can clear this condition to move you to close. And that's what the realtor looks up. Furnace inspection. So little things like that, really important. Same thing with the difference between maintenance and installation. In your mind, it may be this identical. It's not identical when it comes to consumers. So if you have one funnel, which is only installation, but you're missing the funnel where the consumer is searching for replacement, we have to remember that the content on our site, this is not just for the person who gets here. This is to help them get there. It's the guide. So it's in order for you to have an opportunity to present to a human, to a prospect, you got to go through Google first. And Google's deaf and blind. It doesn't guess. It's all by Braille. No text, no go. So all of these, those are fine for people, just so they know what you do. But in reality, we have this so in reality, it's not heating services, heating service, but we're missing the big piece. So if you think about it, what Google sees, first, think about like filing system. Green hanging folder first has a label on it, right? That label can only contain 40 characters. So these are the 40 characters Google looks at first. It's called permalink. Then you have a manila folder inside. The manila folder is this. Google says, okay, what is it? That's the label on the manila folder, only has 40 characters. That's called an H1 title, a heading title. And then you have the content with the description. So if I take a piece of paper and it says heating service, Hood Canal, cooling service, heating, Bremerton, Washington, heating services, Hood Canal, heating, cooling, heater and heating, inspection and replacement, heating repair, heating maintenance, heating systems, fireplaces, heat pumps, and so forth. And I hand this to a receptionist and I say, do me a favor, file that right quick so I can find it later. What happens? What's the receptionist do?
Heating,
Yes. And then what if I need to find fireplaces or I need to find something for installation? I can't find it. So that's the easiest way to look at your website. It's a file system. You got to get it in the right drawer. Once it's in the right drawer, then we can worry about moving it to the front of the drawer. It's got to get into the right drawer first. Okay? So if you think about it, what do you sell? Where do you want to sell it? And who do you want to sell it to? That's your content structure. It's that simple. What do you sell? Now I could say, and how are they looking for it? Where do you want to sell it? And who do you want to sell it to? So if it's commercial or residential, or if it's a mobile park, seen a lot of ductless systems being put in mobile parks and so forth. Do what? DIYers. So for your services, this is your main. It's missing all of the elements. Technically, the business is we do heating. The services are we do furnace service, furnace installation, furnace replacement, furnace repair, furnace installation. You know what I mean? And it's going to break that list. Same thing for heaters. Okay. And then where? So your first one may be Hood Canal, but your second city is probably the city you guys are Belfair, right? The city you're physically in, and then expanding out to other locations after that. So if you want to sell in another area, if there's no content on there to tell Google independently that we do Hood Canal heating installation or Hood Canal heating services, there's nothing for Google to file in there. Okay. So air conditioning, you guys we're rolling into summer. You guys, is there a lot of air conditioning system installation here? I would think so. It is? Yeah. Global warming. Heat pump mostly? Okay. What about ductless? Okay. Yeah, in our real estate company, we do, we have a lot of houseboats, lakefront vessels, smaller properties. That's the great part about Washington. Ductless is huge because you have mother-in-law houses, you have basements, you have attics, man caves, you have all these things. And also you guys are in technology hubs. So you've got server rooms in the house, you have wine rooms in the house. There's all these different things that you get to play with that a lot of states don't get to. Now, if I want to sell server room cooling or server room air conditioning or server room air control, I have to, that's who do I want to sell it to? Where do I want to sell it? What do I want to sell? I got to have content for it. But it's another funnel. If that one's making phone calls, if my wine room cooling is making phone calls, and we're in Washington, you guys have distilleries, right? That's a big business. Our Arizona or Colorado? Mike, which ones for the distillers? Colorado? They're killing it on the distilleries. On doing zone controlling and humidifiers, I think. Is it? Yeah. Thank you for the better version. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of options here, but the only way to play that game, you got to have content on the site to even get in that drawer, unless you guys are working for your website instead of your website working for you. So content, most underestimated and under budgeted item on in any marketing, and it's the number one most important. Google is deaf and blind, reads by Braille, which is text. In order to reach a person, you got to go through Google. So without the content, you can't play that game. With the content, absolutely you can play that game. Then it's just a matter of making your content the first option for somebody to be able to make the call. Okay? So on services, basically same thing for all of these. Air conditioning, we have air conditioning service, Hood Canal, heating, cooling, Bremerton. They basically label. Hang on a second. So right out, do you invest in, or do you know if your company is paying for SEO at this point? It is? Okay, so first thing they missed out on was your website is not set up on the server correctly. Okay. SEO is built of two different functions. Let's say you have all the content. So search engine optimization. The first function is labeling everything on your website so that it's labeled perfectly for the file drawer. That's on-page SEO. The second piece is, now that it's in there and it can get in the drawer, how do we move it from the back of the drawer to the front of the drawer? That's off-page SEO. It's called link building. That is a popularity contest. How popular is your content on social media and local listings and link build? Do you have a lot of links pointing to your site? That's how ultimately the website moves from the back of Google to the front of Google. So, for example, I'll pull up Trinity We'll go to this one. While that report runs. I'm still on the website one. It's just all connected. So this phrase, in order to be page 1, position 1, this is the page that we're trying to get to move up to the front of Google so that it can be a funnel for new phone calls. In order to do that, we have to build backlinks to that page to make it popular. The more popular the page becomes, the further it grows on Google. So if I look for AC repair Hood Canal, what you'll notice here, there's 229,000 pages in that drawer. The fact that your company name is Hood Canal, right out of the gate, and that's in your URL, that makes it easy. This is really low competition as well, but this gives you the page count for any search as far as how do I make money. In order for you to make money for this particular phrase in this particular city, you need to be number 1 of 229,000 pages. Because your Google business listing is there, there's obviously not a lot of competition, and you have the word Hood Canal in your URL and your page is titled that, you guys are page 1, number 1. This is a phone call. This is a phone call funnel, both of them, okay? Now, if I change this to Seattle, it goes from 229,000 pages to 784,000 pages. So whereas you may be able to get page 1, number 1 for Hood Canal in 2.5 months, this could take 8 months. So it's 30 days per 100,000 pages. Make sense? And that's in the beginning. Gets easier over time, but in the beginning. Okay. So same thing for this.
So Seattle isn't our market because we never go over there. We wouldn't put Seattle on.
So give me any city, and it is.
County.
So no one looks by county. So you never want to use county. You're going to want to use it's. Consumers are going to look by the city or town that's on their address. Yep. So Bremerton. Auto. Is this a big auto? That's why. Yeah, I mean, I notice them everywhere, so it's got to be a lot. So there's 389,000 pages, 4 ads. Go away. So here, Dana's, this is your number 1. Your number 1 right now, like by Monday of next week. You need to get 10 5-star reviews if you have to call your friend, your mother, your brother, your cousin.
I know we don't use Google, the Google ones. We have a hard time getting links on those.
So we can help with that, but it's the number 1 most important review. Guarantee you, if you guys are getting referral business right now, they're not calling. There's a percentage of them that are not calling. If you guys have people that find you here, guarantee you there's a huge percentage that's not calling. Google is God. That's the most important one. It impacts your site rankings. It impacts your conversions. And it's an opportunity to make you money as well because it's prevalent, really prevalent. But people are funny. It's the majority. Oh my gosh. I want to say it was 96. The last study they did was 96% of consumers are going to look you up and make a buying decision before having a conversation with you based on your reviews online. So, and these are the most important ones. Dana's advanced. So, and you guys, I mean, this is who you're targeting. You guys know them? They're not in this room. So you always need to keep up. You need more reviews and a higher ranking than them at all times. And you got the business. That's an easy win. Okay? So if you have a physical address, so remember this when it comes to marketing, wherever your physical address is, your address, if you have a verified Google business listing, the best, the most frequent reviews on your Google Business Listing account, and your website is tagged appropriately to that city when you have to identify the site. So usually that's going to be in a footer somewhere down here. They should not use your mailing off. Well, I guess that's fine if they have both. That should be linked to your Google Maps account. If it's linked properly, the easiest location to have page 1, position 1 ranks for is going to be the city you physically have an address in. It's everything else that's difficult. Okay, so mastering that first, you'd go through this. AC repair, AC service, there's 800,000 pages. Still 10's your marker, you gotta beat 10. That's economy. Now you guys, do all 3 of you do business in Bremerton? Okay, so this is difficult to process for a lot of people. However, here's this game, how this happens. Whoever's sitting here, Sullivan's, for example, or Advanced. If I go take over Advanced page 1, position 3 ranking, and Advanced has an SEO company, what they're going to do is try and hurt my client's site to get their spot back. That's how the game works. So they'll issue bad backlinks. There's a whole bunch of things they can do to try and take their ranking back. Okay, and they hurt whoever's sitting here. When you get into this top section, if you've got some decent marketing agencies, that place is competitive. If you look at this, no matter what, a consumer has immediately 20 options on the homepage of Google, right? When you look, if all 3 of you practiced similar processes, you're not going to hurt each other's website. The consumer has less options. If we can eliminate everybody else on the page and only make your 3 sites, the only 3 sites that show up there, as much as we don't want to do, collaborate with competitors, and I get that feeling, but in this environment, what that allows us to do is focus on proactive things to make you guys better instead of fighting the reactive stuff where we've got other companies trying to damage our client sites, because we're not going to hurt our own client sites. And then ultimately the consumer decides. Those sites bounce around a little bit. Over time, what can happen, so we did that with this site. This is a client of ours in New York, New Jersey, New York. So this test was to try and occupy more than 1 listing. So we took page 1, position 1, 2, 3. We used our site to take 4 and 5. I can never spell that. For this one, position 1, 2, 3, and 4. See if, and I see one of our sites, so this is our directory listing, that's popping up there. Let's go to Beacon. Position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At that point, your conversion rate goes way, way up. Even if it was the 3 of you that were lined up there and you guys bounced around in that area, that's how to play a competitive game. Let me
And who
see.
does that work? I mean, who does that actual work to get you up in that?
We do that.
The SEO does.
Yeah. So same thing. This is a new site we just launched. We're doing the same thing. This is heater installation. So we've got them to position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If there was one other client we had in the same city and we could bump everybody else off, the conversion ratios for both go up. Okay. And that's because we're doing proactive things, where usually if I've got one client that's in one city, we're constantly battling with whatever SEO agencies are trying to tackle our clients' listings. And these guys started off the same way. They had really low reviews. I gave them a task and I was like, you have 5 days to call everybody you know and get those reviews. I need 10. I need those stars to show up. And they did that. Then they implemented our review system. Now it's a regular standard practice. They're building local pages. They're doing everything. So, I mean, they've improved drastically. And this was a company that got totally scammed by their manufacturer. With the manufacturer site, basically everything that their customers did drove them back to the manufacturer's dealer locator, not to them. It was ruthless. Okay. So installation 440, replacement. So that's 4.5 months to 258, 2.5 months. About 4 months. That's easy. Air conditioner. That's nothing. That's nothing. Now, Dana's, whoever is on your pay-per-click ad, managing pay-per-click ad, they need to stop that. There's only 26,000 pages in that drawer. You should never have to pay for a pay-per-click in that. There you guys, tune up. Heating, cool. So biggest mistake on this one is it's labeled cooling. No one searches for cooling. That's cooling is like coolant, cooling. So if you go to Google, if you look at it, oops. If I type in cooling, I get a Wikipedia, transfer of air, Urban Dictionary, water and cooler supplies, define cooling. It's not strong enough. So definitely air conditioning, air conditioner, AC, but not online. The labels are the labels. So let me go. Heating with quality. So your label, quality heating and air conditioning, is the home. You'll notice that they haven't used the rest of the space that they have available, and there's no geography. So they have Bainbridge Island and Kitsap County, which is not going to help you guys. That would be better to be like in a slider, something you can visibly see when you get there. But you got to target. Your homepage usually is going to target the city you physically have an address in, and your interior pages will target all the rest of the cities. Okay. So let me flip gears and go over to this one. So we have HVAC installations. This one, we want to break them up. Not enough content on the page. It's got to be 300 to 500 minimum. 1,600 is perfect, but it usually takes a while to get there. HVAC installations is heavily going to be used as an industry term versus a consumer term. We have heating, cooling, repairs. So for this one, heating, cooling, 2 different times of the year. Never want to put them on the same page. Dilutes the page entirely, and 50% of the year, no one's looking for it. So all of this definitely.
So you break that up into, I'm saying, heating, and then you'd have a whole separate page.
Air conditioning. Yep, and it should be a drop down with all the 7.
And then like if you're doing electrical, you have a whole page that does electrical, a whole page that does service. Okay.
Yep, and for electrical, for example, so your top level navigation, just like this, you would have air conditioning or AC, and under AC you put your 7 different pages for the 7 different variations. Heating, same thing. Heat pump, same thing. IAQ, same thing. This would be electrical. And under electrical, you may have electrical installation, control panel.
How many do you recommend in the top line?
Here?
Yeah.
So what we use a 2-tier navigation intentionally because our HVAC clients usually have various seasons and they sell different things, and for expansion. So if they don't have enough service buckets here, then we'll use important call to actions like promotions, apply for financing, sign up for maintenance, those kind of things that are really strong call to actions. So it doesn't matter as long as you can read it. It's clear, it's visible. And then we use a top level navigation for all the junk drawer pages. So junk drawers like your kitchen drawer, they have no value to Google, lots of value to consumers. And then we move them up there. Same thing with locations.
So like the service areas, rather than spending a lot of time on things in Kitsap County, Bremerton, Vanderbilt, so you put up in that that down there, see if people would see if they were in there.
So, res heat now. I'm going to show you that. Okay. Yes, I'm with you. So on here, based from a design standpoint, if we go back to this, you get an idea of development is critical and it doesn't last. So you got to keep that technology updated. And you could do, this is what I mean by the right order at the right time. Let's say you guys are spending money on SEO, but you're in a Haibu website you can't optimize. Or you could be penalized. You could spend this money, get a penalty, and then boom, lose all your investments because of a penalty because the site's not responsive, something like that. Okay, now maintenance plans, critical. You guys have to have residual income, so I'm glad you're doing that. Next phase should be to allow somebody to sign up for a maintenance plan online, put in their credit card, let their credit card auto debit. We had a guy stop by yesterday and was talking to us about pest control, and sure enough, handed us a little tablet and said, well, you can sign up right here, put in your credit card. It bills you, what, $12.95 a month or something like that. That's it. You guys need residual income, and it needs to not cause you operational headaches. So having to mail out invoices, send invoices, all of those are reducing your profit margins. So setting up the infrastructure, letting them pay online, letting them put their credit card in, and just letting the system bill them, auto bill those credit cards, that's going to increase your profit margin. The more of those maintenance agreements you have, the better. And then from a scheduling standpoint, that's when you get into the 60, 70 degree period of time, making sure that you guys are sending out text messages and emails, trying to get people booked during those times when you've got trucks in the driveway. Okay, then I've got financing plans right out of the gate, making sure that you are showcasing that you have financing available is going to be important as well. Online chat, online scheduling, making sure no matter where somebody goes on the website, you always want to have the ability for them to schedule time with you.
Whatever
it doesn't matter. Yeah. So this is why we always leave this down here on every site. We have it because no matter where they travel, I want to make sure that it's easy for them to click to call, leave their details, share a document, map to the location, whatever they want to do here. And then in addition, they have the My Account area. Now, when you get into 7 through 12, that means you've got everything else taken care of first. So you're still on step 1, but all the way on the right-hand side, it's 7 through 12. Online ordering, online signups for maintenance. Now you're in e-commerce, having seasonal updates, referral rewards programs. Those are things you want to add, but I wouldn't hold up launching a website to do these things right now. Right now, it's get the basics done, get 1 through 6 done, get it out, and then add these things over time. So everything is what's next. What are we going to add on the next version? What are we going to add on the next version? Some content we've been talking about, home, about us, 1 page per service. What do you sell? Where do you want to sell it? And who do you want to sell it to? That's first. So if I look at this site, I forgot I ran that for yours. These guys have really done a great job. I use it as an example because they're collaborators. They spend a lot of time with us collaborating, brainstorming, and so forth, and they've helped us understand things we don't know. I've had a lot of dealers that have brought stuff to the table, like in California, earthquake shutoff valves. I was like, I didn't know you could shut off an earthquake. That's little things like that. That's huge. Being able to get ranked on page 1, position 1 for something like that a door opener for all the other services, that's fantastic. Oil to gas conversions, we wouldn't know about that, but that's a huge win for them. So they get a lot of calls on that. So anything that's unique, the basics have to be there, but anything that's unique that people look for, got to include it. Now, in Washington, the more that we have a bucket of clients that we're able to monitor, because we watch every lead that comes in and we look at what the customers say. The only reason we know about using the word inspection is because of the volume of realtors that say I'm representing my clients and they need to get an air conditioner, or they need to get their air conditioner inspected in order to clear conditions so we can put them in their new house. We read what the customers say. And that's important. Most of the business owners don't think about it. All they think about is calling them back and doing the service. They don't think about, well, that's interesting. I've had 3 people use the same language and I don't have a piece of content on my site that says something about that. But that's what we see. So we want to create things that are more FAQs and so forth. These guys, when you look at their titles of their pages, furnace installation, Minneapolis, St. Paul, furnace AC rebate specials discount. Once your website is strong, and strong means that it has a high page rank because it has a lot of backlinks and Google's got given you the thumbs up, says you're one of the stronger websites options for consumers. My math about having to have one page per service, one page per location, taking 30 days, every 100,000 results, that'll change. If these guys want to go after something, they can do it without thinking. So if I want to take one page, we'll get rid of AC. I guess I should have shown that first. So as you change, you can actually make one page start to rank for more than one thing over time. Once you have a strong site, we'll get rid of specials and see. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to the point where you've got content on your site, pages that are so strong that it makes you money 2, 3, and 4 ways at a time. Okay. But as you go through, furnace air conditioner warranty, air conditioner savings rebates, tax credits, furnace AC financing, Minneapolis. So if I grab the title, and you can do the same thing with your site to get an idea where every page ranks. There's 390 pages inside that drawer. They're sitting on page 1, position 1. Let's get rid of AC and just do furnace financing. Page 1, position 1. Let's get rid of furnace and just go AC. 506, page 1, position 1. That's a 3-4 way moneymaker. And that's what you want, is many of those. Same page, yes. So the strength of the website will give you more power where you can do less effort and make more money. So your investment in the beginning is just getting the infrastructure right, doing the right things, having the basics done. And then the longer you stay focused on that philosophy, do more of what works, keep adding content, think about other ways that consumers are looking, then you're spending less money and making more money, and that's when you start to make progress. When you get stuck and you're only doing $2 million a year in sales or $3 million a year in sales or $250,000 or $20 million, whatever it is, and you're stuck, usually it's because this isn't changing. It's not modifying. We're not growing it, and that's important. Then they have weird stuff that they've taught us. Asbestos removal, gravity furnace replacement. I don't know what gravity furnaces are. They're, oh, it is? Okay. I don't convert boiler to gas. Didn't know. Then they started doing brands. So yes, definitely East Coast. Pain. Then they started adding all their manufacturers. So if consumers are looking for a specific brand or manufacturer, they have all of them. All of them. It doesn't matter what brand it is, it's on here. Then, very smart, the more their phone started to ring and the more business they brought in, they're like, can we use SEO to hire? Because if the phone keeps ringing like this, we need more staff. So we started building job pages and started bringing on, using those job pages for different contractor roles and so forth to be able to hire. New furnace sales. So then they started getting into sales and pricing and costs and so forth. I don't know, it's 80% furniture. Then they got into furnace. I had one client that built a page. We didn't put it in the main navigation, but we put it on a blog post. And it was Nest air conditioner repair.
For the Nest thermostats.
Because those people using Nest think they have a Nest air conditioner. Even though it's, so, I mean, we've had a lot of dealers that get smart and they start thinking, we look at their analytics and we're seeing, wow, somebody landed on your site for looking for a Nest air conditioner. That is one. We're like, let's write a page of content for it.
Honeywell furnaces.
Yep. So you'll see Goodman furnace installation, Carrier furnace installation, Daikin, ductless, gravity furnace installation. I mean, they're expanding. The more content they expand, the more their site starts to rank for those pages, the more their phone rings. It's that simple.
Now,
Keep adding.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Do they actually sell all those brands or do they just service them?
They service repair. Now their primary, they have two primaries,
Okay.
or a primary and a
But yet
secondary.
they're
I
putting
should.
all their names of all these things there because they service all makes and brands, and so that's why they get people.
They want that. They want the phone call. Even if somebody is searching for a Carrier or whatever air conditioner, they get the opportunity to pitch something different. Yes. So there are some things you got to be careful about when you play this game because your manufacturer requirements for what you can have on your website. So we know the requirements. Coleman, Daikin too.
Yeah, Coleman. Yeah, we do Coleman, Daikin. And
Okay.
we also see Fujitsu and
Okay. What about you guys? Daikin, Coleman. Okay.
Mostly Train Mitsubishi.
Train Mitsubishi. Okay. Anybody using accrual funds for their websites? So if you're doing that, then you have a different set of requirements. These things can still happen, but it has to be more behind the scenes, using blog content and so forth to do that. So that gives you kind of an idea. So content, when you get in there, one per page per FAQ. These are things. When you think about it, it's what do people look for, and do I have content for it? Do I want to be an option when they look for that? Even if you don't sell it, this has taken us quite a bit of time to convince some of our clients. I always tell them it's imagine being born and the only thing you know about is ketchup. You know what ketchup is. But they just invented mustard and they want to sell you mustard, but they know you already know ketchup. So if they write content related to ketchup, you'll have more of a chance of finding them. And then they can go, oh, but you should also check out mustard. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So don't worry about it if you don't sell it or you don't do it and so forth. Get the call, and then you have an opportunity to present, even if it's outside of your normal world of what you do. Okay. Then content. So we get into dynamic reviews, dynamic promotions, video content, authority content, white papers, ebooks, downloads, and so forth. So just remember when you take care of the basics on the left, first 1 through 6. Later, we do need to get to the point where we're thinking in the 7 through 12, and we need to get more dynamic with our content because it works.
How long should blogs be?
Well, the best blog is going to be around 14 to 1600 words. Most people don't want to pay for that content, and you don't have a writer sitting in your office that wants to write that. So as long as you can hit 300 to 500, you'll be fine. 1600 is ideal, but usually paying a content writer, and it's worth it because they know how to write for people and they know how to write for search. So when we're talking about content, and I'm just showing you for myself things that I do, video is huge. If you have video, and you guys are in a good position because we're down the street, technically, it's hard for us to do a lot of video work for our clients because we usually have to travel too. But video with an SEO plan, you can actually get ranked for a tremendous amount of video searches. Just giving you an idea, I do YouTube videos on a regular basis, speaking events, live events, webinars, and all that video I use to be able to gain position on Google because those videos, you have as much strength. Imagine if you had your website and you had 3 how-to videos right below it, or 3 videos that were related to that topic. Now you occupy more space and so forth. So same thing, we had a dealer. He did not want to do this, but we basically told him you need to create a bunch of how-to videos because he was worried about people trying to install their own systems, purchase it on Amazon, and then install it themselves. I was like, okay, create the how-to videos and make them complicated. So we wound up creating a series of how-to videos. It was definitely overcomplicated. There were lots of warnings. He did an incredible job. And the number of phone calls he got from people who were watching that how-to video that wound up calling him and going, all right, I'm done. Come fix it. Do this. That's another great way. That's another funnel. So video is a great way to do that as well. And these videos, I mean, it's there. So you can do a lot with video. All right, next, CRM and scheduling. I've showed you guys the CRM system we use on all of our sites. I'll just show you quickly the back office of it. So basically, every time somebody comes to any one of our dealers' websites, it goes in phases. So the first one says lead capture forms. We usually start them off with just that because we're not trying to freak them out. So they start off with just a web form. On your guys' sites, if I go to the contact us area, usually there's going to be a form on here. That's not good. Okay. Where's the form? All right, let's go check one of these. There's no form. All right. There was? Okay. Okay. So a couple things about this.
That's Davis.
This form, now because you have a Haibu website, not as big of a deal because the website doesn't effectively have a strong brain that you can infect. However, having a web form on there, it's the quickest way to get a virus, because people can inject code directly into your website. So you don't want forms to automatically submit things to the database of your website. Secondly, when you have a web form, if it just sends you an email, then you're causing your company issues because it's not going into a database. You can't sift, you can't sort. Good intentions to transfer that into some kind of a database later never happens. The only way they get into a database is if they write you a check and they become a client and make it into QuickBooks typically. So that's not good marketing habits. So the good marketing habits is every interaction with your company or your website stays in a database. You can sift, you can tag, you can sort, you can export it to an email marketing system. You can leverage that data long term. But otherwise, it just becomes a missed opportunity, and we work too hard to have them. Okay, so when somebody fills out a form on your website, I want every single form, whether they're requesting an appointment or they're asking for information or they're applying for financing. I don't want to send them straight to the financing company and not know that they went there. I want to get the request, and then once I have the request, I capture the lead, and then I send them financing information. Okay, I don't want to send them over to a dealer website. Products, I don't want to send them over to a distributor website. There's dealer locators on there. Yeah, they got something going on with that.
So forms of ads, what do you use?
So we use a third-party system that attaches to your website. So every time somebody goes to the site, that box that you see in the bottom right-hand corner, that's our CRM system. So every single lead or opportunity that comes through that system goes into one bucket. It goes into here. You can tag them. This becomes your marketing database. It has leads, it has prospects, opportunities, people who requested a quote, asked for financing, requested maintenance. Everyone's in one location. I can import them, I can export them, I can invite them to do something via email, so I can send out a quick message and remind them it's time to schedule your tune-up, weather's changing. All from one, so you're taking every single lead that comes in and having a marketing process and database for them.
So then how does that form not get
It's a different database. So your website has a database that can or cannot get infected. It can get infected. Huge way to have viruses. I've probably, I would say 40% of our HVAC sites that we've looked at have a virus on them right now because they're old technology, not updated. They have web forms on there. Many of them have executable files. So I've gone to visit an HVAC site and had an executable file download onto my computer instantaneously that tracks banking records, tracks your logins. And it's just because the sites are so outdated. So there's security issues with having an outdated website that are big. So on one hand, you have the operational side. Next one is marketing. You guys want to take a break? You guys have to go to the restroom? Want to take a break? Okay, take a break. And we'll come back to it. How many minutes? Like a couple. How many bathrooms do they have? All right, we'll take a break real quick. Thank you, Mike.
So on that one,
Yeah.
you're using a third-party form, so is it, since it's a third, do they check for viruses before it goes? Because otherwise, you're just passing the virus from one section to another section.
They can't embed a virus in a pop-up. So scripts, cron jobs, if you have your IT, right? Okay.
I'm not web.
Not what, okay, so hardware. So in the digital space, viruses are typically going to be installed from somebody running a cron job, which is a script that looks for certain URL patterns, scripts, title tags on websites, and then injects directly in there. When you go to here, what a script cannot do is it can't go find me something that says leave details, open it in a pop-up, and then inject it. They can't get in.
So the pop-up windows is what you want.
Pop-up it works, but they also can't inject into an iframe. So if I go request an estimate, this is the same system, but it's an iframe, and they cannot inject code directly into an iframe. They can only inject it into code that's part of the website. So we try and keep forms never built on the same platform as your website. Even custom forms, like we've got clients where we've built a form that is online estimator tools, where you'll go put in your square footage of your home, how many years you've owned it, what your biggest issues are, all mass amounts of data, and thinking you're going to get a quote at the end of it. Even that we have in a third-party form building system. We won't put it on the website itself.
So the third party has to worry about their system.
The hackers can't get into them. Yeah, they can't get in. They can only get into script that's on the website. Yes, they can get into anything. I should say that. They can. No web. I had a gentleman. He said, "Well, I'm paying them for hosting. My website should never get hacked." I was like, "You read the news."
Yeah.
I think like it was better government than every website.
Very interesting.
Yep. It's just all of what you want in this to get it going. So it takes one person to sit there and do all of that.
Or you hire somebody.
You need somebody to do that. A lot of work to sit there and do strictly just online stuff. Somebody who knows about it.
Which is kind of like during
Sorry?
during the meeting. This company does that stuff. We're not there. You can see we're just not there.
It is.
And we're spending a lot of money, we're just not there. Definitely not really good at marketing.
I don't feel blamed.
Pardon?
I said, I don't feel blamed.
No, good.
Yeah. That's not my field of expertise in. I need somebody who wants to sit there and can do this, that has the experience and
That's what I mean, we're going to hire one of these agencies to do it because they do that.
so we should ask them why, because we're paying somebody to do this to an extent. We'll talk about it more after.
All on the same page.
Yeah.
You only have so much in your budget, and if you don't have a budget, that's where you're going to
Yeah.
Just put Dane's Eating, Economy, Sullivan's, the city, Bremerton, Silverdale, yeah. So quick,
Understood.
the church needs it.
How you doing there, lady?
Good.
Are you keeping yourself out of trouble?
Yes. I just left the dentist though, so my mouth is numb.
If you're drooling, that's why.
I haven't had a cavity since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I blame the baby.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't find it.
Really?
The baby gave
They
it to me.
leach your calcium.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I got
That's why you have to take.
carpal tunnel and a cavity, the little stinker.
I don't know about the carpal tunnel.
It actually was caused by the
Because
baby.
you're picking it up.
No, actually, I got it while I was pregnant, and then it got worse after I had it. Yeah. 6 weeks already. Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Um,
I wear it out of my house yesterday. And that's a great picture of her.
Oh,
Nice. Super
so
blue eyes.
cute.
She's walking around.
I know, Phil's
Very
home,
nice. Great.
Phil's home with Lennox today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think the Huskies gonna do this year?
You know, top four again, playing for the.
National championship?
I need Amber.
No, the only downside is we don't
to
get
give
to
me
keep you guys
keys
up.
next Tuesday.
That's you.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do a heat
Let's just see each other in bowl.
pump upstairs and a dining downstairs.
I'm hoping we make a New York 6 bowl.
And then probably
So
like,
Yeah, you're so.
We have the, we have the
yeah,
schedule.
we have a simultaneous close
Just
at the same
not
time,
the game.
so.
But there's only 2 days on
Yeah,
there.
we have to close on ours and close on
You play
ours.
Right.
Yeah, we're
Right.
trying, there's chocolate, so.
Yes,
Very good.
it's Jessica, she's working on her.
Exciting.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. My son is just finished his freshman year.
She went to you,
Where's that?
down Tacoma.
Cat's Paw.
At,
It's one road before the post office.
Oh.
So right where the CVAC post
Yes,
office
yes.
is, it's
We got selected to get into
Okay.
art photography,
Huh.
because he wants to double major, so business and photography. So out of 100.
Good work, what? Is that?
going away from the water.
Oh, yeah.
So if you left the
Okay.
marina, you're going towards the post office,
Yep.
it's the dirt road right before the post
And with the
office.
turn, right.
Turn right.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have a view facing the water.
Right, that's what I kind of meant by one.
Yep,
That
that we're right
direction.
on like a hill too, that's gonna cut some trees down,
Yeah.
to try to make it a little bit bigger.
First day, first.
Couple of the trees.
I don't know, we gotta watch out.
Yeah.
They beat the other Cougars all the
But
time.
it's just like a early, so it feels really
Maybe.
big, you can
So anyway,
cut up and chop up the wood and give it.
so I appreciate
a
you.
kind of
LSU.
Right.
I don't think
If you
people-
don't mind, we can down those two or three trays, I'll try.
I saw him.
I only gave us